I never thought the ugliest kind of bullying would happen in a school parking lot, not between kids, but between adults. It started with a woman named Trina Caldwell. You know the type: perfect hair even at 8 a.m., a new SUV every 2 years, and a smile that could slice through glass. She was the president of the parent committee at Oakview Elementary, where my daughter Lily was in 3rd grade. And me. I was the new mom, Sophie Grant, 32, recently divorced, still figuring out how to pack lunches that didn't look like a cry for help. At first, Trina was all charm. "Oh, Sophie, we're so thrilled to have you join the committee. Fresh ideas are so important." Her words dripped with sincerity, but her eyes studied me like a challenge. The first few weeks, I actually believed she liked me. I volunteered for the book fair, brought cupcakes for the fundraiser, even joined her carpool rotation. She'd text me late at night, tiny hearts and exclamation marks, thanking me for fitting in so well. Then, out of nowhere, things changed. Parents started acting differently. Whispers when I walked into the library. Half smiles that didn't reach their eyes. The first rumor came from a dad I barely knew. "Hey, Sophie," he said awkwardly at pickup. "I heard you had some issues with your ex. Hope you're doing okay." I blinked. "Issues?" He stammered. "Just, custody stuff. That's what Trina mentioned." Custody stuff? Lily was with me full time. There wasn't even a custody battle. By the next week, it got worse. Someone told the art teacher that I'd had a breakdown at a committee meeting, which never happened. Someone else said I'd been flirting with another parent's husband. And through it all, Trina's smile stayed exactly the same: sweet, supportive, almost pitying. The turning point came during the annual spring gala, the biggest event of the school year. Trina put me in charge of decorations, a job that required weeks of planning and more hot glue than any human should ever own. The night before the gala, she called. "Hey, Sophie," she said in her sugary voice, "just checking that everything's under control. We can't afford another mishap this year." "Mishap?" I asked. She paused. "Oh, maybe you didn't hear. Some of the moms are a bit nervous about you taking on too much. With your situation." "My situation?" I repeated, the word foreign and foul in my mouth. She gave a light laugh. "Don't be sensitive, honey. I just mean single parenting can be stressful. Everyone's rooting for you." And just like that, she hung up, leaving me standing in my kitchen, phone pressed against my ear, my heart pounding like I'd been punched. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I scrolled through the committee's group chat, a mix of logistics, emojis, and fake niceties, until something caught my eye. A message Trina had accidentally sent to the wrong chat weeks earlier. Trina Caldwell. "We need to keep an eye on Sophie. She's unstable. I don't want another PTA drama like last year." It had been followed by a series of awkward messages and her quick cover-up. "Trina, oops, meant to send that to my husband. Haha, ignore me." At the time, I'd brushed it off. But now, I scrolled higher, past months of messages, past every friendly note and event update. And then, I found them. Screenshots she'd shared of private texts I'd sent her. Messages where I'd vented about missing my ex-husband, worrying about money, struggling to keep things together. She'd labeled them concerning. Underneath, another mom had replied, "Poor thing. Maybe she shouldn't be on the board if she's so emotional." That was the night something inside me shifted. Not rage, not yet, but awareness. The kind that burns cold and quiet. I didn't cry. I documented. Over the next week, I gathered everything. Screenshots, messages, timestamps, every whisper she'd sent under the guise of concern. Then I waited. The spring gala arrived like a test of grace. The gym was transformed. Fairy lights, white linens, floral centerpieces. The kind of suburban spectacle people brag about on Facebook. I wore a navy dress and my calmest smile. Trina floated in wearing sequins and confidence, greeting everyone like a celebrity politician. When she saw me, her lips curved upward. "Sophie, you did such a wonderful job," she said loudly for everyone to hear. "I was worried you'd be overwhelmed, but you pulled through." A few moms nodded sympathetically, like I'd just recovered from a nervous breakdown. I smiled back. "Thanks, Trina. That means a lot." She touched my arm. "See? I told everyone you just needed structure. Everyone." That was the word that sealed her fate. At 7:45, the speeches began. Trina took the mic, her voice echoing through the gym. "This year, our gala raised more than ever before. I'm so proud of this community and the way we lift each other up." Applause followed, polite, practiced. When she handed me the mic for my brief thank you, I took it calmly. "Thank you, Trina. And thank you everyone for trusting me with the decorations. It's been enlightening." A few polite chuckles. I continued, "I also want to thank Trina for her support these past few months. She's really gone above and beyond, always keeping everyone informed." Trina tilted her head slightly. That warning smile. I smiled back. In fact, she's been so thorough that I thought it would be nice to share just how dedicated she's been. I pulled my phone from my purse, opened the screen I'd prepared, and cast it to the gym's projector, the same one looping the gala slideshow. A second later, her texts appeared in massive font. "Trina Caldwell, we need to keep an eye on Sophie. She's unstable. Trina Caldwell, if she messes up the decorations, it'll just prove my point. Trina Caldwell, single moms always bring drama." I said it. A ripple went through the room, gasps, whispers, the sound of 50 polite facades cracking all at once. Trina froze. "This is out of context," she stammered. "Oh, I'm sure it is," I said sweetly. "That's why I included context." Another tap. More screenshots filled the screen. Her messages to individual parents, gossiping about me, mocking another mom's weight, even calling the principal spineless. The silence was heavy, electric. "Stop this," she hissed. "You're twisting everything." I met her eyes. "No, Trina, I'm just showing people what you already said." The principal stepped forward awkwardly, clearing his throat. "I think we should—" But he didn't finish, because one of the moms, quiet, gentle Mrs. Sanderson, stood up and said, "You talked about my son too, didn't you? You said he was weird." Trina's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Another parent chimed in, then another. The room shifted, a tide turning against her. I set down the mic and walked off the stage. My hands were steady, my voice calm. I didn't need to stay and watch her unravel. The damage was already done. By Monday morning, she'd been removed from the parent committee. The district issued a formal apology for inappropriate behavior within the parent leadership. Trina tried to control the narrative. Of course she did. She told people I'd hacked her phone, fabricated screenshots, even had a personal vendetta. But digital footprints don't lie. Every message came directly from her number, her words, her timestamps. Her kingdom of gossip collapsed overnight. You'd think I'd feel triumphant. But what I felt, mostly, was quiet. There's a strange stillness that comes after reclaiming your dignity, like your soul is catching up to your victory. I deleted the screenshots from my phone a week later, not because I regretted it, but because I didn't need to see them anymore. Lily didn't understand the details, only that I'd stopped going to meetings and that Miss Trina doesn't come to school anymore. That was enough. A month later, I saw Trina again, at the grocery store. She was standing in the cereal aisle, makeup undone, sunglasses perched on top of her head like a shield. When she saw me, she froze, the same way Evan had in the story you once told me. Her lips parted, but no words came. I just smiled. "Hi, Trina. How are you?" Her voice cracked. "Sophie, I didn't mean to—" "I know," I said gently. "You were just being yourself." She flinched, like I'd slapped her. I picked up a box of Cheerios and added softly, I hope your new committee's kinder." And then I walked away, leaving her there, surrounded by shelves full of choices she could no longer control. Some nights, I still think about her, not out of anger, but out of recognition. Women like Trina feed on insecurity. They survive on control, on reputation, on making others smaller so they can feel important. But when you stop feeding them, when you expose them with truth, not cruelty, they starve. And that's the part no one tells you about revenge. The sweetest kind isn't public humiliation. It's peace. Peace that looks like not having to explain yourself anymore. Peace that comes from knowing the rumor mill has finally gone silent. Peace that lets you walk into any room and no longer care who's whispering. Because now, when they whisper, they're whispering about her.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.